Hello everyone, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're diving into one of the most important journeys you'll ever embark on, buying a home. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or a seasoned pro, having a solid checklist can make the process smoother and less stressful. It's exciting, a little scary, but mostly it's a whole lot of adulting. So let's walk through the home buying process together, step by step. The first thing you want to do is determine your budget. Before you start looking at homes and get your hopes up, before you start working with a realtor, it's crucial to know how much you can afford. Take a close look at your finances. Look at your savings. How much do you make a month? How much expenses do you have? Do you have a car payment? Use an online mortgage calculator to get a rough idea of what a monthly payment would be for a house that you're thinking you would want to buy. Remember, it's not just about the whole price of the home, but you're also going to have other expenses when you own a home. Taxes, insurance, and maintenance, things that you don't worry about when you're renting a home or maybe living with your parents. Knowing this budget helps you avoid falling in love with a house that's just completely out of reach, and who would want to have to pay more than they can really afford? It will keep you on the level and make sure that you're only looking at things that are realistic and not out of reach. You'll want to think about how much you have available for a down payment. This will help you decide what type of loan that you want to get. You're also going to have to save up for closing costs, which sometimes can be as much as a down payment. And then you're possibly also going to have moving expenses depending on how much stuff you've accumulated before you're ready to buy your house. If you're going to be buying a home without cash, so getting some type of mortgage, you're going to want to get pre-approved before you start looking at homes. Even though you say that you can afford this much for a home payment, maybe the bank will say something different. Getting a pre-approval letter is going to get you a step ahead of your competition. Get with a lender, make sure that you're pre-approved to buy a home and how much home that they say you can afford depending on your debt to income ratio. They'll be looking at your credit score, your income, your debts, and just overall your financial health to determine how much they're willing to lend you. Having this pre-approval in hand, you can submit it with an offer, and some listing agents will require a pre-approval letter before even looking at homes. So it's a good idea to have it before you start reaching out to schedule showings. And I encourage you to check with various lenders and see what programs they have. It can fit you better. Maybe just because you're a veteran and you can get a VA loan doesn't mean that's the best loan for you. So make sure that you talk with your lender, see what funds you have available, and see what's best for you. And also, if you check with various lenders, should only be one hit on your credit if you do so within 30 days, so they can all check and see what they could do for you. Keep in mind also that you're not marrying the rate that they're going to be giving you. You can refinance in a couple years. Maybe you're only going to live in this place for a couple years and you'll be selling and moving on to another. So try not to focus on the rate, but more what you can afford for that monthly payment. And then you'll have that pre-approval in hand when you're ready to make an offer. Once you've got the first few steps in order, you figured out your budget, you've got pre-approved, or you have a proof of funds letter from your bank, then you can start working with a realtor. You want to find someone that has experience in the area that you're looking for homes in. So I mean, we're in Cherokee Village and Horseshoe Bend in the North Central Arkansas area. That would be my area of expertise. A good agent is invaluable in this home buying process. We have access to the MLS, we know the neighborhood, and we are there to help you negotiate when you get ready to make an offer. So you do want to make sure that you're working with someone that understands your needs and your preferences so that we can actually get you set up on a search and help you find homes that you're really going to be interested in. The agent will guide you through the whole process, making it less daunting and more efficient. Now that you've got your realtor and you've got your proof of funds, you're going to start looking for houses. That's the fun part, right? So you want to create a list of must-haves and nice-to-haves and deal killers to make sure that you're not looking at wasting your time looking at houses that are just not going to work for you. You want to be looking at location within the United States, within the state, within the town, the size of the homes, bedrooms, bathrooms, and any special features. Like, does it have to have a fireplace? Does it have to have a shop? Does it need to have acreage? Does it need to have a fence yard? Now, some of these you could put in afterwards. You could build a shop, you could build a fence, or put a fence up. But it's nice to be there so you can just move in and you don't have to worry about adding things after you bought the home. Something that you can do is attend open houses. You can take virtual tours. I always encourage people to do drive-bys because they might not like the neighborhood. They might not like the neighborhood. They might not like how steep the driveway is. So drive-bys can check things off your list before you see the home, and you're not wasting time looking on the inside when you already know it's no good. So, but finding the right home can take time. So be patient. Sometimes if you're in a hurry, you might have to settle for something less than perfect. But if you have the time, make sure it's something that you really like because it's a huge investment. When you're doing those drive-bys, make sure you're also checking out the community as well as the neighborhood and the street the house is on, and stay in your price range. Just because you see a for sale sign doesn't mean it's something that you're going to be able to afford or really want to look at if it's out of your price range. So be careful of that when you see a for sale standing up when you're doing your drive-bys. Now that you've found a home that will work for you, you're ready to make an offer. Your real estate agent will help you create a competitive offer, knowing the home's value and the market they're in and your budget. Be prepared for negotiations. Your first offer is just a first offer. The seller has the opportunity to reject, accept, or counter your offer. And once they counter your offer, then you'll have the opportunity also to accept or reject. If you reject that counter, then you can make a new offer and you can go back and forth as many times as you want to. But usually after a couple times, people get down to just verbal offers and say, I'll do this, will you do that? But anyway, the first offer can be accepted. You can also be in a multiple offer situation. You want to make sure that your agent is checking the MLS and making sure that you are making a competitive offer, seeing if this house is really overpriced, really underpriced. So you wanted to get all the details that you can about the property, see what they bought it for, see the improvements that they made. So it can take a couple times to go back and forth, but do keep in mind when you're getting that counter offer that you're keeping your budget in mind and you don't overspend and get wrapped up in the negotiation process. It's easy to do. So let your real estate agent keep you grounded and focused on what your goal is. Once your offer is accepted, the most important thing I tell buyers to do is to stay in contact with their lender. Give them all the paperwork that they request, keep it on hand, because they may ask for it again, because lots of times they'll verify it at the beginning and they'll verify it again at the end before they close. Now it may be new information like new pay stubs, or there's a new form for your employer to sign or something like that. But try to keep it on hand in case you need to resubmit it. It can be overwhelming, the amount of paperwork that they require. So that is your main job, is to, as a buyer, to make sure that the lender has what they need, because they're the one that can hold up the whole process. They need to get you approved so that they can get the house approved by ordering the appraisal. Now the next thing after we send the offer to your lender and it's accepted, you'll have 3 business days to do 2 things. One, if you've offered earnest money or a non-refundable deposit, that's usually the timeline when you have to get that paid. This is earnest money, which means you're earnest about your offer, so therefore you will be paying it up front after acceptance, but it will be applied to your closing costs or your down payment at the end. So it's not additional money, it's just money now versus money later. The second thing is we'll be getting the seller disclosure if there is any. This is a 14-page document that the seller will fill out, and it's just a bunch of check boxes saying, I did this, I did not do this. For example, it's going to ask if the home's ever flooded. Have they ever done an insurance claim? Did they fix the things that the insurance claim was for? Are they a licensed realtor? Is there a lease on the house? Is there anything in the house that's not working if there's mechanical errors? It also has the insurance company that they use, the termite company, type of septic tank, who the electric company is, who the internet provider they use, the water company is. All that kind of stuff is on there for reference. You know more details about the house. A lot of that is on the MLS, but it's nice to actually get it directly from the seller to the buyer so that you can have that information. You might bring up some stuff that the seller or the listing agent hadn't revealed already, so it can be very important information. On the other hand, I get tons of those that just all the boxes are checked now and practically a waste of paper. But we had them fill it out, so that's the important part. Now, once you also get your offer accepted, you're going to want to go ahead and schedule your inspection. Hiring an inspection is a buyer's expense, and it is also upfront. It's about $350 to $400, depending on if you could do add-ons for mold or radon or lead, things like that. So you want to check around with different inspectors and see what additional features they offer, what their timing is available. Some of them get booked up and they don't even have time to get your inspection done in your 10-day business day period that you have to do inspections. This is from acceptance, 10 business days from acceptance. So you will be in charge of contacting the inspector and ordering the inspection, and they will get in touch either with your agent or the listing agent to get into the house and do the inspection. You'll also probably be paying for the appraisal up front as well. Sometimes when you put your application in, sometimes once you've got an offer in. I think that's usually when they do it, when they've got you approved and you've got the offer submitted to the lender so they have it in their files. Then they'll have you pay for the appraisal. I'm not sure how much those are right now. It definitely depends on what type of loan that you're going to get, but I would say around $600, $750 for an appraisal. You're going to pay for that ahead of time, not at the closing table. They'll have other closing costs if you pay at the closing table. So the appraiser is also going to go out to the property, take a bunch of pictures, take a bunch of measurements, and they're going to evaluate the property and compare it to other houses that have recently sold so that they can come up with a value of the home, so that the lender knows that they're not going to lose money by giving you a loan on this house. Some other things that you need to be worried about during this time period, 10 business days after acceptance, is not only the general inspector and the appraisal, you also want to think about other due diligence, like are you getting a survey done? You need to be ordering that. Usually as the selling or listing agent, I handle that, but it's up to you if you want to order it directly from a surveyor. There'll also be termite policy that need to be ordered. If there's not one in place, you'll definitely want to get one in this area to make sure there's not any current damage or current activity so that the house couldn't cave in one day because they ate all the supports. And another important thing during this 10 business day due diligence period is insurance. It's written in the contract that you will contact an insurance provider and not only guarantee that you can be insured, but also that the house can be insured. And you'll also want to check if there's any additional insurance that needs to be put in place, like flood insurance is one that I always think of. Now, if you asked for that seller property disclosure and that listing agent or that seller did not provide one thing you may want to ask for is a Clute report. It is a report that will tell if there's any claims in the history of the home, and the only person that can get it is the seller, and that's why you have to ask them for it. So again, like I said, on that seller disclosure, one of the questions is, have you ever done any insurance claims? Well, wouldn't this come up when you go to get the insurance? Not necessarily. I had a closing about last year, where the seller did not provide a seller disclosure. The buyer got quotes for insurance, but after closing, the insurance provider found out that the seller did do a claim for insurance, but did not replace the roof. So therefore, this buyer could not get insurance on the roof. So that's kind of scary that now they have to have just bought this house and they've got to replace the roof or they won't have insurance. So that's why that Clute report is very important. And also with the seller disclosure, you're betting on the seller telling the truth. So you still may want to get one if you can get one. It can take a few days for that to come through, so that would be something that you would want to request early on. So that's all part of your due diligence period, finding out anything about the house and any concerns that you might have about the house before you move forward to the next step to closing. You do not have to hire someone to do an inspection for you. You can do it yourself. You can ask your dad, your brother, your sister, whoever you want to do the inspection. But I highly encourage everyone to do an inspection because there's so many things you can miss by just walking through the home. Now, once you get that inspection report, or once you've done your inspection, if you find any issues that you want to ask the seller to repair that are beyond your means to repair yourself or hire someone to do so, then we provide a list to the seller of repairs that you're requesting to move forward with the sale. They then have 5 days to respond to say whether they are going to make all the repairs, not going to make any other repairs, or somewhere in between, or maybe they will just give you some money and you can fix it yourself after closing. That's usually what happens, because usually in our area the seller isn't necessarily here and they don't want to deal with hiring a bunch of people, plus then it's done to your satisfaction by giving you the money to take care of it. So once the seller decides how to respond, then you again have the ability to say, okay, yes, I agree with this, what the seller has said they will do, or no, I do not. And then you can either terminate or offer a different solution to getting the repairs done. But it's essentially a new negotiation about the repairs. You can also just go ahead and accept the house as is. And finally, we're getting to the end of the closing process. Now, since the offer has been accepted, the listing and selling agency has sent off the paperwork to the title company, and they've been working on getting this ready for closing date. They've done a title search to make sure that there is no liens on the property, and if there is, they've contacted the listing agent to let the seller know the additional information they need, maybe like a death certificate recorded or a power of attorney, some additional documents to get the moving going along. They will also issue a title insurance policy to insure you against future issues against the title. Now, closing date is usually about 30 to 60 days after acceptance. It really depends on all the contingencies that you put in an offer and the type of loan that you have. So if you're just cash as is close, you could do it in a few days. But if it's a VA loan with inspection and a survey and a termite, then it's probably going to take 60 days. So it just depends on all the things that you have put in your offer that you're asking the seller to take care of before you get to that closing date. Now, to get to the closing table, the listing agent, the selling agent, the lender, and the closing agent all have to work together to get those final numbers right according to that offer that you wrote up. You'll have a lot of paperwork. If you're getting a loan, you're going to have a lot of paperwork to sign. Now, a closing is not final until that deed is signed by the seller and filed at the courthouse, as well as the buyer paying the funds and signing their own paperwork with the lender and everything like that. So now that that closing is done, you are a homeowner. I hope this guided checklist helps you through the exciting process of buying a home. It can be a complex journey, but with the right preparation and support with your real estate agent, it's definitely manageable. Make sure you comment any tips you have about your home buying process. Subscribe to my channel to get more information about home buying and selling, as well as the Cherokee Village, Arkansas area. If you found this video helpful, be sure to check out the other video I did on how long can a home be under contract to understand more about the process after your offer is accepted. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.